will be immunology. And this is actually a one semester subject. So for us, we will discuss immunology for the time given to me, which is 4 sessions, so 4 hours. The topics will be divided into three. We'll take up first lymphoid organs and structures, followed by cellular components and macrophages. Then we have immunology proper, in which under this we have the body defense mechanism, and the most important is the immune response, which is the third line of body defense mechanism. Let us define first what is immunology. Immunology is the science that deals with the study of the body defense mechanisms that protects the body from foreign substances. And what are these foreign substances? These are mostly biologic agents that causes infections and diseases. How does the body defense mechanism protect us? By elimination and destruction of any foreign body. Another important function is it discriminates between self from non-self. We have here an illustration of the different factors that are involved in immunology. So mostly we mention about pathologic agents that causes infections and diseases. These are parasites, bacteria, viruses, and fungi or fungal organisms. So aside from these, we also have pollution and toxins that are found in the environment. What are involved in the body defense mechanisms? Of course, we have the body's immune system. What composes the immune system? We have lymphoid structures and organs. We have cellular components. We have the macrophages and phagocytes, and the body processes. We have inflammation, phagocytosis, chemotaxis, opsonization, fever, and so on. Then we have the immune response of the body. Let us take up first organs and structures involved in immunology. And these are divided into two. We have the primary lymphoid organs and the secondary lymphoid organs. The primary lymphoid organs are the site of development. We have the bone marrow and the thymus, while the secondary lymphoid organs are the sites of maturation, differentiation, and activation. The secondary lymphoid organs and structures are classified into three. Those with the capsule, we have the encapsulated organs, we have the lymph node, we have the spleen, and the thymus. And those which are partially encapsulated structures, we have the tonsils, and without the capsule, we have the solitary lymph nodules found in connective tissues, found in the mucous membrane of the body, and also found mostly in the digestive system, and we have the tonsils. What is the common characteristics of all these organs and structures of the immune system of the body? All of them are composed of lymphoid tissue. And what are these lymphoid tissue? Made up of reticular connective tissue and the presence of the reticuloendothelial cells and also the presence of lymphocytes. We have here an illustration of a reticular tissue. The reticular tissue is a connective tissue and it is composed of reticular cells and reticular fibers. So this type of tissue is mostly found in lymphoid organs of the body. The reticular cells have cytoplasmic extension. So together with the reticular fibers, these cells and fibers will form a network that will support other cells in a lymphoid organs and structure. Now, the reticular fibers are fibers that cannot be stained using an ordinary stain. So, a special staining technique is utilized. We have the silver staining technique and the gold staining technique. Between the two, what is most commonly used is the silver staining technique. These reticular fibers, they have affinity for silver. That's why they are referred to as argyrophile fibers. And they will appear under the microscope as just an outline of fibers. So together with the reticular cells, they will form a network appearance under the microscope. Let us take up first the primary lymphoid organs. We have the bone marrow and the thymus. The bone marrow or medulla osseum is the flexible tissue found in the interior of bones. In humans, bone marrow in large bone produces new blood cells. On average, bone marrow constitutes 4% of the total body mass of humans in adults weighing 65 kilograms or 143 pounds. Bone marrow accounts for approximately 2.6 kilograms or 5.7 pounds. There are two types of bone marrow. The first type is the medulla osseum rubra or red marrow. This red marrow consists mainly of hematopoietic tissue producing the red blood cells, the white blood cells, and platelets. Then we also have medulla osseum flava or yellow marrow. So this yellow marrow consists mainly of fat cells. We have here a slide wherein the bone marrow is illustrated using the long bone of the body. So we have long bones of the body, specifically the femur. So the long bone is composed of two major parts, the shaft, which we call the diaphysis, and the end portions we call the epiphysis. So in the epiphyseal portion of long bones are the red bone marrow. So here the blood cells are formed or produced, while the diaphysis composes the yellow marrow. It is the hollow part of the long bone, or we call the medulla. So also in the illustration is a cross section of the head of the femur. So you can see the colored red, which is the red marrow, And at the center, we have a color yellow, which is the yellow marrow. So more of the red bone marrow compared to the yellow bone marrow. So in the red bone marrow, we have the different cells of the body. We have the red blood cells, we have the white blood cells, and we have the platelets. So all the innate immune cells of the body or natural immune cells of the body is produced by the bone marrow, which is considered to be hematopoietic bone marrow, or the cells found here are the hematopoietic stem cells. They are the precursor of all cells in the body. Now, in the bone marrow, there are two divisions, wherein the cells of the body are produced. We have the lymphoid progenitor cells and the common myeloid progenitor cells. So these are the stem cells. So in the lymphoid progenitor cells, we have the organ involved, the thymus, which produces the lymphocytes. And we have the bone marrow itself, wherein we have the myeloid progenitor cells, or the precursor of all other blood cells in the body. We have the neutrophils, monocytes, and immature dendritic cells. Then, these cells could be found in the tissue as macrophages or immature dendritic cell, which will develop into a mature dendritic cell in the lymph node. So in the bone marrow, two types are found. We have the yellow bone marrow and we have the red bone marrow. Aside from the red and the yellow marrow, it also contains numerous blood vessels and capillaries. At birth, all bone marrow is red. However, with age, more and more of it is converted to the yellow type. So in adult individual, only around half of adult bone marrow is red. Let's go first into the myeloid tissue division of the red bone marrow. So in this division, we have different type of cells which are considered to be multipotent stem cells or precursors. We have here the lymphocytes, the monocytes, and we have here the granulocytes. Together with the red blood cells, with the platelets, and all stages of developing cells. Now, in the red bone marrow, the active part of the marrow which produces the blood cells are referred to as the parenchyma, while the other structures found in the marrow are called the stroma. So take note, parenchyma is involved in active hematopoiesis, while the stroma is the supporting structure within the marrow. In adult individual, the red marrow is found mainly in the different flat bones of the body, such as the hip bone, the breastbone, the cranium, the ribs, the vertebrae, the shoulder blades, and in the cancellous part of long bones, or we have the spongy part of long bones, which is the epiphysis. So it is here where the red bone marrow are very active in the production of blood cells. In cases of a severe blood loss, the body can convert yellow marrow back to red marrow to increase blood cell production. Mostly, the yellow bone marrow contains the stroma of the bone. We call that the marrow stroma, and they are not directly involved in the primary function, which is production of blood cells. The yellow marrow is found in the medullary cavity, the hollow interior of the middle portion of bones.